Hi, folks. It's Professor Diffley again. So picking up, continuing the Chapter 3, Module 4 lecture slide video. So we're picking up here at the Battle of Thermopylae. This is the great part of the Great Persian Invasion. Again, as we saw there, Xerxes has come from Persia all the way across Anatolia and now in Europe and coming for the Greeks. So that's where we're at. So the Battle of Thermopylae. Again, this is a famous historical battle. You've seen it, I'm sure, in the movies 300, about the 300 Spartans who gave their lives to hold off the Persian army there. So, what happens, why this is such a big deal is the Persians, knowing that this massive invasion force is coming, pick the spot of Thermopylae, a very narrow pass between the seashore and the mountains, a very, very small area. They realize they're not going to leave this place. They're not going to survive this battle. They send the rest of the forces away, most of the rest of the forces, to evacuate Attica, where Athens is, and to live to fight another day. A couple things here. Well, there's actually more than 300 Spartans there. The 300 are the 300 Spartan hoplites. They're elite warriors. There's also the Perioci. Remember, that's the other class, the free but not Spartarite class. They held them off, and how did they do it? Again, by picking a narrow pass. They bottlenecked the Persians, right? The Persians outnumbered them by incredible amounts. But if you fight in a narrow area, you can only send so many people in, so you even the numbers that you're fighting at any one time. Thinking about this, if you're in an open field, they can just come at you from all sides. But if you say make them fight in a hallway, they can only fit so many people in there, and so that's what they're able to do. Persians eventually defeat the Spartans. Someone sells out the Spartans. They find a trail through caves and around the mountain pass up to and come, come from behind and now have surrounded the Spartans. King Leonidas dies. And this is a big battle, really. Although the Spartans perish, again, as it says, they brought enough time for them to Athens to evacuate and rest of Attica. So they save the people. They can live to fight another day. They inflict a pretty good amount of casualties on the Persians as well. This battle has a lot of significance too for some people today. For those that believe that history and that there's truly a clash of civilizations, East and West, right? So Europe and Asia. And this view seems to say that the two civilizations clash because they're so different, right? Incompatible, right? The Europeans are for freedom and things like that, and Persians, the Asians are not. They're despots and all that sort of thing. It's not really true. If you watch the video, one of the videos I gave you for this week, the crash course video, it kind of shows, right? There's actually it's a biased view, and some people like to see this as that turning point where the West is saved from the terrible Easterners. Again, I don't buy into this that story, but some people do. But that is sort of the view of this. But again, very important battle going forward, and you can see here is the Battle of Thermopylae and the movement to Salamis, which we'll get to, where the battles will go from there. And you can see here where they bottleneck them in this battle here, right? So the Persians have all them, but they can only fight in this small little area. There. Another, we saw that. So this is of the Battle of Salamis. This is the next battle, and we'll talk about that there. But, first about this. The Greek triremes, and there's a website on this. Make sure to take a look at it. These were the Greek warships. They were powered by oarsmen, rowers here. As you can see, there are 3 levels here. Why did they have so many rowers? Speed, so they could ram the other ships. I mean, this is an era before, obviously, cannons or anything like that. So if you wanted to defeat another enemy ship, you could shoot arrows at it and things like that, but really the best way was to ram it. So in the front of the ship, under the waterline would be sort of a battering ram with some metal on front of it, poke holes in or split the other boat there. And, obviously more rowers, the more speed you could pick up. The Greeks had less ships, but their ships were heavier, therefore better at this ramming. The Persians had more ships. The ships were also faster and all that, but they were flimsy in comparison. And that's going to be key to how they're able to defeat them. Here's just another view of it. Oops, sorry. So back to Salamis here, my bad. So what happens at the Battle of Salamis is, after the Battle of Thermopylae, the Greeks fall back, and they decide to try to turn this into a naval battle, because, again, the Persians had sent in a massive fleet. And so what the Greeks do, again, and this is a big reason why they're able to win all this, they have better generals, better strategy, better tactics. They realize the Persians have the numbers. So just like at Thermopylae, how do you even the playing field? Fight in a small area. And so they trick the Persians. Here, what happens is, and this is Themistocles who does it, is they actually go, they send fake information to the Persians saying that the Greeks are surrendering and they're running away, and Xerxes believes it there. And so what they do is they hide their ships at Salamis here, around this peninsula, in this very rocky, jagged shores there. And so what they do is they draw the Persians in, and they set up a few lines of ships here, a line of ships here, and as the Persians come around, those ships turn around and flee, make it look like they're fleeing. This draws in the rest of the fleet because they think they're just chasing down this one line of ships, because remember, they think everybody had surrendered. And then, after they get too far into the strait here, the rest of the Greeks come out. The Spartans, the Athenians, their allies from Corinth and other places. And now they have them trapped. So these Greeks come back this way. Now what they do is, the question is, well, now that they realize that they've fallen in a trap, why don't they, the Persians, back out? Well, if you know anything about boats, they don't stop very easily. And that even if the first few try to turn around, you have hundreds, if not more, ships back here that can't go anywhere. And so it's chaos. And the Greeks just destroy them, sinking almost all their ships there. Many ships beach on the rocks and are dashed upon the rocks and that. But a major defeat here. Now, this is a key defeat because the Persians have lost their fleet. This means they can't keep their lines of communication, their supply lines open, and things like that. And essentially, the Persian military is stranded in Greece. And so this is really the end of the war in that. And so again, Xerxes, realizing that it is all lost, abandons his army and runs back to Persia. The Spartans and other Greek infantry, their hoplite soldiers, pursue them all the way back through Anatolia, what is modern-day Turkey, defeating a large portion of their forces, again, expelling them and liberating Ionia and places like that. So now, how do we explain these defeats? These victories. Again, the way you explain the victories here is that they had better tactics, better generals. That's really it. Remember, Themistocles, who had the foresight to use that gold, that silver that Athens found to build a massive fleet because he knew the Persians would come back. Well, it happens here too. And so remember, the Greeks were all about arete, and so everything's a competition. So at the end of the war, they had all the generals from all the Greek city-states vote on who was the best general, sort of MVP general. You could vote for two people. Every single person voted for themselves first, right? That's just the way it is. Everybody, they're trying to be excellent. And everyone else, for their second choice, picked Themistocles. So there you go. That tells you everything. How great of a general, even more than Leonidas, any of them, they pick him as the best. And so it really is a key that his strategy, the Persians' sacrifice wins this. Not the Persians, the Spartans' sacrifices at Thermopylae. All right, so let's go on here. All right, so the Golden Age of Athens here. So, this is a view from the Agora, a painting, this actually looks like a drawing, but you could see the Agora, how it's this big open space. You could see the Acropolis up here with the Parthenon and others there. And so, yeah, eventually they will build the Parthenon here. That's one of the things that's coming. One of the things I forgot to mention in the when the Persians in the war, remember Attica and Athens had been evacuated, and so they burned the city, and especially burned one of the temples up there to Athena. When they build the Parthenon, they leave the charred ruins of the temple there as sort of a monument. But this allows them to really beautify their city, as you can see. Must have been astounding to go back and see. Here's another one, just gives you an idea, scale of it. Some of the stuff from Athens and the to the Piraeus and the long walls here. That's a map you see. So what happens after the war? The Delian League begins. Delian League is the creation of an Athenian empire. It's a naval alliance. Again, they say, the Persians may come back. So let's have an alliance to be able to work together. So member city-states had a choice. They could build their own triremes and man them and put them in the fleet, to guard against, protect trade and guard against a foreign invasion. Most city-states just decided to pay into the system, looking at that as easier. They didn't have to maintain a fleet. They didn't have to maintain their own oarsmen, that sort of thing. Problem with this, though, is it gives all control to Athens, because now they have the fleet. Athens goes on to use the fleet for its own purposes, to dominate all these other city-states. They will actually threaten and use force on other members who say they're not paying into the system anymore, and so even though this was meant to go outwards, this works for them. Athens became extremely wealthy. One reason on this one is on the Isle of Delos, was where the treasury for the league was supposed to be. Athens one day picks up all the gold and silver and brings it back and puts it in their treasury at the top of the Acropolis. So you can see they took everything for themselves. If member states had legal disputes, they had to, their cases would only be heard in Athens in front of an Athenian jury. So you can just imagine, Athens never lost. So this is truly an empire in the sense where they are, dominating all these others. So it's all the islands around Athens, Ionia, and the Aegean Sea and that. So yeah, this is the Parthenon there. You can see it's built on top. So there's videos on these. Make sure you watch that about the architecture. You could read these here. Massive temple to the Athena as war goddess. Their massive statue. The statue, 40 feet, made of gold and ivory. The metopes, the friezes. Again, the video link is here. It's also in the required video, so make sure you watch that. And what's in the book. Again, any of this architectural stuff, you can take a look there. You can see really just some amazing architecture and artwork. All right, so religion in Golden Age Athens. Again, Athens had more public festivals than anybody else. Again, remember, these are deeply religious. They practice their religion in public, that sort of thing. Nearly half the yearly calendar included a festival with food and games and things. Why? It spreads money around, that sort of thing. And yeah, everything is a contest, right? Music, dancing, poetry, athletics, everything. And that's what they have here. You have hero cults as well. These are, you go to the tomb of famous people, the most famous being Heracles or Hercules, that if, they had special powers. So if you slept there, you could get, sometimes diagnoses, cures for illnesses, things like that. And so more and more. And the heroes are regular people. That sort of thing. The other is the mystery cults. And the mystery cults are, one of these cults where they go in and they're trying to find secret knowledge, divine protection, better afterlife. The mysteries is there's a secret prayer, there's a initiation that goes into it. They're a mystery because you're not supposed to share it, right? And so it's these special rituals that only people in the group know. But again, they want to have a more personal, a deeper, get secret knowledge, be closer to the gods, that sort of thing. Remember, a cult back then is just anything other than the main god or goddess of the city, right? So these are cults to other gods or deities from the Greek pantheon. When we say cult, don't think of, as we often do today, as somebody crazy. That's not what we're talking about here. So that is a religion in Golden Age. The cults here, that sort of thing. All right, we'll come up and we'll do the next video and we'll get into radical democracy. All right, thank you.